in this meditation that I'll be guiding you through, we're going to be focusing on a different type of pranayama, which is not expanding the breath, it's more passive. And so although you are going to be directing your breath in a subtle way, we're not going to be trying to take big, laborious breaths, but allowing our breath to be very, very smooth and subtle. And the more smooth and subtle that you can allow your breath to be, this will allow your mind in turn to drop into this presence. One of the most common things I hear from my students is that they don't meditate, or they haven't been able to get into the groove of meditation because their mind is just so chaotic. That is so normal. I mean, our mind's nature is to move, but this is why we focus on some of these preparatory practices like in Vishoka meditation, to allow our mind to have something to focus on. And when it has something to focus on, then it can allow itself to relax into this sense of presence. So in Vishoka meditation, the first step is to take 5 conscious breaths. Slow, steady, smooth breaths. This is your moment to check in, to arrive, to establish yourself in the present moment. The next step, and there's going to be a lot of steps here, so don't worry about memorizing them. I just want you to get a sense of what they're going to be, is we're going to focus on this area. We're going to call this the midbrain area, but you can see it's essentially the forehead, but we're going to go back just a little bit more to like this midbrain area, which if you look both structurally and functionally at the brain, at the neuroanatomy of the brain, that is the entry point between our impulses, like so our lower mind according to yoga psychology, and the higher mind, our higher cognitive function. So this is a big part of the meditation. We're going to take 3 conscious breaths there. Next, in between the eyebrows, 1 breath. Then the inner eyes, 1 breath. Most of these are 1 breath. Then this space right under the nostrils, this is a very important area. Right under the nostrils, this is the entry point of the breath. And then we're going to work with the throat, a breath at the shoulders, a breath at the upper arms, the elbows, the wrists, the palms of the hands, the fingertips. We'll take 2 breaths at the fingertips. And then we're going to work our way back up. The wrists, the elbows, the upper arms, the shoulders. Don't ask me why we're not doing the forearms if we're doing the upper arms. It's just the way that this meditation is taught. Then back to the throat. From there, we'll take a breath at the heart. Then let's just call this like the diaphragm. Bring the camera down a little bit lower. So we got the diaphragm, the navel. And when I'm referring to these areas, I'm referring to something a little bit deeper, like internal, rather than this external focus. And then you'll do the pelvis and then the base of the spine. I don't know how to show you that other than just conceiving of something like your tailbone. Okay? And at the tailbone, you'll take 2 breaths. From there, and I'll be guiding you through this, so don't worry. As I'm telling it now, I'm thinking, oh, this is a lot to hear the first round, but we're going to be doing this for 14 days. You're going to absorb it. So from there, from the 2 breaths at the base of the spine, we're going to work our way back up to the pelvis, the navel, the diaphragm, the heart, the throat, the nostrils, the inner eyes. Yes, you can breathe into this space. It's so wonderful breathing into this space. In between the eyebrows. Again, this midbrain point. And then the crown of the head is where this first stage kind of culminates. And we'll take 3 breaths here. And I'm doing this little movement because when we're breathing, it kind of feels like this, like a little bit of a pulsation in it. Then what we're going to focus on after doing 3 breaths is focusing on the flow of our breath up and down the spine. So for those of you that are familiar with my classes, I teach quite a bit of this movement, and sometimes we teach it in reverse. But this time, what we're going to do is focus on an exhale all the way down the spine and an inhale up. If you watch my Instagram videos, I often do it in reverse, but this is a different kind of meditation. So if you are following, I just want you to have that information. So we do that 10 times. It just starts to get your mind to drop into presence, to stop externalizing its focus, to trust that it can internalize. And I think for a lot of us with diabetes especially, it's really hard for us to let go because we do have to be on guard to take care of ourselves to ensure for survival. This is part of the tension that so many of us are holding. After 10 breaths up and down, this is really where it gets interesting and very special in terms of the depth that you're going to be able to experience with time. We're going to focus on this region of the midbrain, but kind of like back a little bit more. And what we're going to do is on the exhale, just allow the breath to move out. Like my mind is moving with the breath, and I know my breath is not moving necessarily here, but we're going to focus on just allowing it to move and conceiving it moving about 9 inches in front of the face. 9 inches. I'm sorry, I don't know what centimeters are for that, but you'll figure it out. So 9 inches in front of the face. And it's kind of like, this is where the tradition says that our aura or our presence, it ends. And then on the inhale, we're going to let it just move back in, up the nose, up back and into the midbrain. So it's almost like your presence is just going to be really drawn in and back, and then back out on the exhale and in. You'll get in the rhythm of this. Then, staying with this trajectory, and have you focus on some of the same specific points that we worked with, but to allow, as you allow the breath to flow in and out, just to land your presence in these areas. So from there, we'll land presence in the nostrils several times. It's a really joyous feeling, very awakening here. And then the inner eyes several times. This is all for your mind to really just drop in to this presence, to the inner eyebrows, and then back into the midbrain. So you're just kind of like doing this midbrain, back and in, back and in. And what happens is that more you relax, it's called spanda. Spanda is a spontaneous pulsation. It's this pulsation of life itself. Just happening like this with your breath. So it's exhale, inhale, and what we start to awaken to is a very vibrant, luminous presence, awakening in the third eye region or the midbrain. And really that's where the preparation of this practice culminates, is this brightening effect in the midbrain. Don't worry if you don't experience this all within the first time or two. I'm going to do my best to guide you, but you will, with practice, this will become easier and easier to access intuitively, just so that you could even close your eyes and you're like, you're there. As this brightness grows and intensifies, then we're just going to allow our attention to rest right in this space. Remember how I was doing this little movement? Well, you're just going to kind of stay with just the natural flow of your breath, not trying to do the breathing, but just letting it flow. And we're going to stay for about, 5 to even 10 minutes in this space. The meditation is going to be 21 minutes total, but most of the work of preparation is going to be the duration of the practice. And it's just going to go by really, really fast because you're going to have things for you to do. So landing and resting in this space, all you're focusing on is that flow. that flow in and out, and really just relaxing and allowing it to reveal itself to you. Our minds naturally move, so distractions are inevitable. If your blood sugars are high, or you're recovering from low, or you've had just one of those days, it's naturally harder to drop in. We're fighting distractions, but we're also fighting some level of lethargy due to the physiological changes. These kinds of things happen and they're natural, but just to keep coming back, the more you can just come back to this presence like this, in and out, in and out, in and out. It's like a muscle training. And the more you come back, the less and less time it takes you to return from distraction back to attention. That's baseline Vishoka meditation. Talking about this it's almost crazy, because allowing yourself to be guided through it is really the most potent part of it. And my hope is that after these 14 days, not only do you have more clarity of mind, but you're going to feel empowered to do this practice for yourself regularly. I recommend a 40-day practice. That's what's recommended by my teachers. It's scientifically proven that 40 days is the amount of time that our brains need to establish a new habit pattern. So keep up with this. I'm always available. If you are struggling to show up, email me. You're like, I don't want to do it. Email me. Let's chat about it. And if you have questions along the way, like something I'm saying is not resonating or making sense, let's see if I can find a way for it to land for you so that you can get the most out of this meditation experience. And at the end of every 21-minute meditation, I'm just going to invite you to bring a little bit of self-inquiry into your experience. Self-inquiry, there's different words for it. One is vichara. Another is svadhyaya. It means self-study, or to look at yourself. And the truth of the matter is that unless we're employing self-study, self-inquiry, and asking ourselves questions about why we feel this way, or why we think this way, or what the origins of our suffering are, the transformation doesn't occur. People can be real jerks that sit in meditation every day. But if we're employing these questions of why, how, we can begin to have a direct conversation with ourselves. And I'm not talking about that little self, I'm talking about a higher self, a part of us that's always enduring, that's very wise and very present, and that can let that answer trickle in for you. I'm really excited for you to embark on this journey with me. Let's practice. Let's drop into the end of 2020 together as a group, as a sangha of people that are united with diabetes, because I firmly believe that although diabetes is very challenging, it is something that is going to accelerate our personal growth and transformation. It makes us better people. It makes us more empathetic, compassionate, and connected, not only with ourselves, but with the world around us. So by employing these tools of meditation, we're going to take that which is already present and expand it.